I love the hymn we opened with this evening. What a friend we have in Jesus. I especially like the second half of the second verse. Can we find a friend so faithful who will all our sorrows share? Jesus knows our every weakness. Take it to the Lord in prayer. How often do we feel alone or think that there is no one who could possibly understand our experience? Or perhaps we feel unworthy because of our mistakes or sins. We're afraid or reluctant to share those with anyone. Then we feel more alone. But the Gospels tell us of multiple occasions when Jesus himself experienced emotions: grief, sorrow, despair, anger, compassion, joy, love, and many more. Our friend Jesus can share our sorrows and bear our burdens, not only because of his love and sacrifice for us, but also because he experienced human feelings himself. Our gospel reading this evening begins by telling us that Jesus was troubled in spirit. In John's gospel, Jesus has just washed the disciples' feet and is now reclining at the table with them. And he was in deep distress. Not long before this, Jesus had also been troubled in spirit at the death of Lazarus. He had wept with Mary before raising Lazarus from the dead. And now, once again, Jesus was grieving. He is grieving for all that would take place that evening as he reclined with his disciples at the meal. One of his own would betray him. With a dipped piece of bread accepted by that one disciple, unstoppable events would be set in motion. In all four Gospels, Judas is identified not only by name, but also by his betrayal that led to Jesus' crucifixion. Judas, the betrayer. Judas, the traitor. Judas, the one who would betray Jesus. That identification as the betrayer becomes his title and the act by which he is known. We even use Judas's name in accusatory manners today. So-and-so is a Judas, or you, Judas. One act and Judas's identity became ever linked to the definition of a betrayer. What a tragedy. What a tortured soul Judas must have been. For 3 years, Jesus had walked with, taught, and broken bread with the disciples, including Judas. Jesus had poured out his love on them. For Judas to have been so close to our beloved Jesus and to have listened to his teachings in person, like the Sermon on the Mount, and witnessed the healings, to have had all those experiences and yet to have been unable to really see or hear Jesus' message, to not have been able to take in the good news, and then to never have been able to undo the terrible act. How horrible. Last Sunday in the reading of the Passion, we heard how Jesus suffered afterwards, regretted his betrayal, and then killed himself. Judas, the betrayer. In a way, giving Judas this title impersonalizes him. It also puts the act of betrayal over there, away from us. But haven't most of us been betrayed and also betrayed someone else? And don't we know what it's like to have done something we regret and then to discover it now defines us in the eyes of others, at least to some degree? In our world today, we see betrayal in so many places. The most vulnerable among us are betrayed by the very people charged with their protection. A war is being fought right now at the cost of billions of dollars a day, while health care benefits are stripped from those who need them most. Wealthy property owners profit from policies that allow them to benefit from keeping their buildings empty and unleased, while fellow human beings sleep unsheltered on the street. Betrayal is something we know well, even if we try to impersonalize it or wrap it up in the person of Judas. When Jesus came to the meal that evening, he was well aware that he would be betrayed and that this betrayal would lead to his death. But Jesus still reclines to share a meal with the one who would betray him, sitting within reach of his touch. But Jesus stays focused on what is coming, foretells the betrayal to his disciples, and offers the dipped bread to Judas. After Judas leaves the table and departs, Jesus now knows that his death is imminent. And with that knowledge, he once again turns his attention to teaching the disciples and preparing them for what is to come. He tells them that through the catalytic events that have just transpired, he will be glorified. He tells them he loves them and that his love will never end. It is because of love that Jesus allowed himself to be betrayed. It is because of love that Jesus patiently taught and healed. It is because of love that Jesus wept, suffered, and sacrificed himself. All that Jesus did was because of his love for the disciples and us. As we heard Helen read from Hebrews, consider him who endured such hostility against himself from sinners, so that you may not grow weary or lose heart. We need not feel alone or feel that Jesus will not understand. We can bring it all to Jesus. Yes, we have a friend in Jesus, a friend so faithful who will all our sorrows share. Jesus knows our every weakness. We can take it to the Lord in prayer. Amen.